Chapter 4 The Band of Robbers. Pinchback the wizard and Pogo the goblin were walking together in the woods. They were talking about a magic spell. The mushrooms must be picked at midnight, Pogo told Pinchback. I spy a bag of gold. They were so busy talking, they didn't see a robber creeping up behind them. Suddenly, the robber jumped out. He hit Pinchback over the head with his club. Give me your gold, he shouted. Pinchback dropped the gold. Pogo just ran. The robber tied Pinchback to a tree. 3 hours later, Pogo came back. My head hurts, groaned Pinchback. Let's go to the castle for help. Slowly, Pinchback and Pogo climbed to the castle. They stopped in front of a huge wooden door and knocked. Inside, the king and queen were having tea. Was that a knock? Who would it be? Who's there? Called the king. Pogo, said Pogo, with Pinchback the wizard. We were robbed in the woods. Please let us in. That's terrible, said the king. Come in at once. The queen made some fresh tea and wrapped Pinchback's head in bandages. The robbers came here too, she said. And they're coming back tomorrow, the king added. If we don't give them 2 more bags of gold, they'll take over our castle. And we don't have any gold left. That night, Pinchback and Pogo stayed in the castle. They wished they could do something to help. My head's thumping too much, sighed Pinchback. I can't think of any spells. But Pogo had an idea. Early the next morning, he sneaked out of the castle. Hope I don't wake anyone up. He found 2 sacks in a shed and tiptoed through the garden. If he tried hard enough, he might be able to work a spell. As fast as he could, he stuffed both sacks with leaves. Almost there. Then he hurried back to the castle. When Pinchback saw the sacks, he clapped his hands with glee. Pogo, you've helped me to remember a spell. Umpy Brumpy, do as you're told. Fool those robbers and turn into gold. Yellow smoke filled the air. Then, rat-ta-ta-ta, the robbers were banging on the door. Open up, they yelled. We know you don't have any gold. The castle's ours. Oi, king, out. Please don't take the castle. It's our home. The queen began to cry. But we have nowhere to go, she sobbed. Tough, said the robbers. Just then, the robbers heard another voice. It was Pinchback. Take a look at this. The robbers couldn't believe their eyes. They blinked and stared, then blinked again. Take your gold, said Pinchback, and make sure we never see you here again. Ha, we're rich now, said the chief robber. Why would we come back? And they set off. They rode for 5 days and 5 nights. The sacks were getting lighter, but the robbers didn't notice. At last, they stopped to rest. Tired and hungry, they decided to cheer themselves up. Let's count our gold, they said. Huh? Leaves, just leaves. It's a trick, shouted the chief robber. We'll go back. But it was no good. They'd come too far and were lost. At a castle, Pinchback's head healed and his spells returned. It was time to go. But before he left, he gave the king and queen a magic sack of gold which would never run out. Goodbye. Then he and Pogo headed back into the woods the way they had come. The end.